Did you know that the site of Troy, where the Trojan War happened, Homer's Iliad, might not actually be Troy? We'll get into it. This Troy? Okay, maybe not this Troy exactly. More like this Troy in southwestern Turkey. So there it is down in southwest Turkey in the city of Hisarlik. And I apologize, I only took a semester of Turkish like 10 years ago, so my names and pronunciations are probably gonna be terrible. See, there was a German businessman in the late 1800s by the name of Heinrich Schliemann who became so infatuated as a child of Homer and especially the Iliad, where all he did in his later life is dedicate his entire existence to finding all of these geographical locations mentioned in the Iliad, especially where the Trojan War happened. Now, some consider Heinrich Schliemann to be a pioneer in archaeology. In my opinion, when you go into a site and use dynamite to blow away historical relevance and artifacts and significant things at a site, you are not a pioneer of archaeology. Schliemann was an amateur archaeologist at best. And I say this because Schliemann did what you're not really supposed to do as an archaeologist. See, he opened a book that we don't know if it's really true, how accurate it is, or anything like that, and he used it as a primary source to go and find the site. Now, most archaeologists believe that this site is Troy and that there is historical significance to it as Troy, where the Trojan War possibly happened. But that doesn't mean that it's actually accurate. So the Trojan War was supposed to have happened in the 1200s to early 1100s BCE. Homer lived in the 8th century BCE, so the mid 800s to early 700s BCE. The other issue is there are some scholars who actually believe that Homer wasn't one person. I'm not getting into that argument, but there is some evidence. Some people also argue that the Iliad and Odyssey weren't written by one person. Even texts, even within themselves, you can see differences in the writing. So Schliemann, using the Iliad as his main guiding point, went to Turkey and started excavating at a site called Pınarbaşı. And he did it with this English amateur archaeologist, Frank Calvert, who lived in Turkey at the time, and they ended up finding nothing. So Frank Calvert's family owned some land in Turkey, and he invited Schliemann to go down and excavate down there, which happened to be within Hisarlik. I also didn't realize that this video was going to be this long, so I'm going to post part 2 as soon as I post this one. Okay, bye. So Schliemann goes down to Hisarlik, starts excavating, and by excavating, I kind of mentioned it before, he uses dynamite, blows up big chunks of things as a way to find any artifacts that he possibly can. Now, he does this and he actually uncovers what comes to be known as 9 levels of cities throughout time, right? So he did find an archaeological masterpiece. He just kind of went about it in a very, very wrong way. Now, what made Schliemann believe that he actually found Troy was in 1873, on his last day of digging at the current level that he was excavating, he actually found a treasure hoard, a stash of gold, and he ended up calling it Priam's treasure. So this is Schliemann's wife, Sophia, modeling the treasure that he found. She was wearing it much later on, but this is what he found, some of the items that he found while excavating on that last. There was also evidence that this particular level of Troy had been burnt down, or like a massive fire had occurred. Some destructive force had come into this city at the time. Now, unfortunately for Schliemann, the recent dating by archaeologists has put this city at 3000 to 2000 BCE. Again, the Trojan War happened in like the 1200s to 1100s BCE. So it's a little bit too early for the Trojan War in this level. Now, many archaeologists and historians have come to believe that Troy 6 and Troy 7 are potential sites for when the Trojan War happened. See, they fit the timeline a little bit better. They also show evidence of a force, a destruction, a war, kind of decimating the city. Troy 6 existed about the mid 1700s BCE to right towards the end of the 1300s BCE. Troy 7 would have popped up right after that, the late 1200s BCE until its destruction. But again, we're going off of a German businessman's amateur archaeological evidence based off of a work that we're not entirely sure is even real. Now, Troy, or whatever city it may end up being called in the future, is historically significant, and the Trojan War most definitely could have happened. But there's no actual archaeological evidence to suggest that Troy is really Troy. And I think that's really cool. Until we find more evidence, like, I'm gonna believe that it's Troy. But I think it's really, really interesting to see just the leaps that we make to find what we want. As always, I will post my sources in the comments. If you guys have any questions, please ask. I definitely love to talk about this. As you all know, I will talk to you later. Okay, bye.